Hey friends, welcome back to Rose Tarot and Astrology. This is your astrology preview for the 27th decan of the year. That's September 23 through October 2, brought to you by the Two of Swords in Tarot. First, I want to say please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so some Two of Swords keywords are stalemate, denial, or difficult choices. With the Two of Swords, we realize that we may be putting off a decision we don't want to make, or perhaps it's impossible to choose the best option, or we may feel as though we don't have enough information to make the call. Decisiveness is called for right now. We can't avoid the wrong choice every time, but that's no excuse for not committing to a course of action. And this is something to keep in mind over the next week, as the sun now transits air sign Libra, and our focus is naturally pulled toward weighing the options and making fair decisions. This 10-day segment includes the full moon in Aries, September 29. We are taking actions this week to culminate some part of our goals so that we can say we accomplished something in time for that full moon. After the celebration on Friday, we shift gears to a mode of reflection, looking back on what we made and noticing what we would like to do better the next time. And just taking an overview of the page before I zoom in, I want to point out that the majority of the aspects are Mercury aspects this week. So Mercury just left its retrograde last week. We expect for it to be active as it picks up speed, moving in the regular direction, conducting its regular business among the planets. Mercury has a couple of trines this week, bringing ease and grace to our efforts to communicate about our plans and ideas. There are some quincunx vibes on the page as well, suggesting we'll have opportunities to adjust course as we move toward our goals. Okay, now let's go ahead and take this day by day. Today is Saturday the 23rd. Venus sings in harmony with Chiron today and through about October 3. What we're attracting into our lives right now, love, attention, gifts, compensation, it's likely to help us shed some scar tissue and become a little softer and less defensive. So take the opportunity today to notice what old defenses you might start dismantling in light of the fact that there are certain battles you no longer have to fight. This trine vibe can make it really easy to let go of some things. Tomorrow is Sunday the 24th. Mars stands in opposition to Chiron then, and Mars is ruling Chiron's current transit in Aries. So I'm getting a potential for conflict with bosses or other authority figures from this. On one hand, Mars is in Libra, creating strategies and possibly feeling a little impatient, like we can't take the actions we'd like to take just now. Chiron retrograde in Aries wants us to notice what is healed from the wounds of childhood, bullying, exclusion, those kinds of things. Mars may prefer to develop approaches that put those old bullies on notice or on the defensive. However, the balanced approach at this time may actually come from reining in those assertive impulses and choosing a more worthy fight. This struggle vibe will hang with us through about October 5. Also tomorrow, the sun strikes a mode of accommodation to Saturn. This is just a few days. This will be through the 27th. And in our work, social, and civic lives, we are adjusting to this personal recognition we're going to have that our priorities are changing. And with that comes a new set of responsibilities. So this is your invitation to step into the opportunity to build security for yourself in new ways. Then on Monday, the 25th, Mercury reaches a trine with Jupiter retrograde that will stay around until the 30th. I predict some conversations that will help us clear a path to our greater sense of purpose. We're planning and preparing for personal expansion. Our development at this time is happening on the inside where we're making room. And so now's a good time to articulate what it is that we're making room for: more love, more abundance, a greater sense of belonging or inclusion, a more open and innocent approach maybe to being in the world, and to think about how we're going to water those seeds and nurture them into the personal growth we seek. After that, on Wednesday, the 27th, Mercury strikes the mode of adjustment with Chiron retrograde through the 29th. So just a couple days. The themes around old social wounds are strong this week, and it's all in the interest, once again, of recognizing which battles you no longer have to fight. If you've been treated unfairly as a youth, bullied, made an example of, verbally abused, these are just examples, friends. We all have our own experiences in childhood that felt so bad to us when they happened that we developed strategies to combat the particular kinds of attacks we're afraid of. So we put up defenses that help us avoid the pain and embarrassment we don't want to feel again. And when Chiron is retrograde in Aries, we have this opportunity to lay down some of those defenses, noticing that we no longer necessarily need them, and that in fact they may be getting in the way of our ability to sincerely connect with others. So Mercury's accommodation here probably looks like examining some of the language we use or the habitual thoughts we have that represent sort of hardened ways we have picked up, but which we would like to see change. This Friday, the 29th, is our full moon in Aries, and the sun and moon are in opposite signs, so we're dealing very much with the energies of Aries individuality versus Libra relationships. What part of this life is mine alone, and what part is meant to be shared with others? The Mars-ruled full moon in Aries is often a rather social time, as Venus-ruled sun in Libra would like it. Still, we find ways to shine in our original, distinct ways, reflecting that light of relatability by being our beautiful selves. Also, that day, Venus develops a challenge with Uranus that will stay on through the 8th of October. Uranus is retrograde in Venus-ruled Taurus, and this comes across to me as a clue that we'll be focused on some disruption in the supply chain of the things we're accustomed to having for our comfort and our sense of stability. Uranus has been in Taurus for a while, shaking up the availability of products in different ways, encouraging us to be open to alternatives and to see what we can do without. Venus's challenge then is for us to get our comfort needs met without being overly choosy about how that happens, okay? This could be anything from getting your peanut butter from a different store to taking your second or third choice in housing accommodations. And then on Saturday the 30th brings us Mercury trine Uranus retrograde. This one will be with us through October 4. So Venus entered this challenging position with Uranus just the day before, and now Mercury is coming in to say, hey, this is okay, we can work it out. We just need a plan. So whatever the interruption or disruption to your regular flow of goods and services, we have the ease and grace of a trine vibe here to smooth our path. And again, that's through the 4th of October. Mars makes an adjustment also to Uranus retrograde energy today. This says we can change our course of action based on the new information and have a better time going after the supplies we seek. And I didn't get a date on that one, friends, so I'll find one for the daily. The final day of this decan is Monday, October 2. Mercury arrives here to find itself in opposition with Neptune, a vibe that hangs out until October 6th. So this is another aspect that involves noticing something we had been choosing to ignore. The potential for self-deception with Neptune retrograde in Pisces is an issue we have to confront by being aware that what we choose to ignore still has an impact on our lives, okay? In a certain way, deliberate denial of true things wears down our resolve and it casts our routines into disarray. So if there's a thought, a conversation, or a plan that keeps trying to get from the back of your mind to the front, now's the time to see if you can allow it and examine it. The next decan will go up on Tuesday, October 3, just a few days before that third quarter moon in Cancer. Mercury, Venus, and Mars make significant moves, and Pluto has a transformative role to play as well. What happens next? I invite you to tune in and find out. That's it for today's video, friends. Please drop 3 scales emojis. I mean, like the Libra scales emojis in the comments to celebrate the first 10 days of the Sun's transit in Libra, where we strike a balance and strive to make life equitable for ourselves and others. Thanks again for joining me today. See you in the next video, friends. Bye-bye.